it's okay because I always come back. And it's all because you do it like that. Like that, like that. You be pushing and pulling on my heart like that. Like that, like that. If you didn't want it, then I'll start it like that. Like that.
What's going on, you guys? I am here for another video, and this is not going to be like a typical reaction video. It is a reaction, but we're not going to be reacting to any performances or music videos. This one is going to be a reaction to the Billboard's list of the top pop stars of the 21st century, something that has caused a lot of controversy. I mean, it happens every single time we have a list like this. When Rolling Stone put out their top 100 singers, a lot of people had an issue with that, including me, because there were a lot of people who were like, I wouldn't even categorize as a singer like that, but they were high on the list for some reason. We had people like Brandy and Kelly Clarkson down at like past 50. And I'm just like, huh? But you know, I digress. It's fine. It is what it is. That's their opinion. That's what they want. That's what they had. But when it comes down to it, this one is for the top pop stars, which means you don't necessarily have to be a great singer or a great writer. So as long as you have the power to influence the music industry and gain a lot of followers and innovate the way that the industry works. So the biggest thing here is with Beyonce being number one. I don't have a problem with this. Really, honestly, ever since I was little, like since I was a child, Beyonce has been in my face, has been in everybody's faces, has been dominating the music industry left and right. Left and right. Every single time she put something out, some people were gathered, okay? People were always waiting to see what kind of performance she was going to put on next, what she was going to do, what the next concept was going to be. People just wanted to see Beyonce. Like, it was just a thing. And even to this day, as she starts to go into other areas, other avenues, other genres, other styles, a lot of people are really interested to see what she's going to do next. I mean, the most anticipated album is probably going to be the part 3 of what, because it's supposed to be a 3-part album saga, right? We got part 1, Renaissance, we got Cowboy Carter, which is part 2, and who knows what's gonna be 3. People speculate that it might be rock. People speculate that it might be Afrobeat or something, even though she kind of did that with the gift for the Lion King. We kind of already got our like African styled album, but I mean, who knows? She might want to like go into that again. And some people think that it might be gospel. I don't know that she would put out a gospel album at this part of her at this stage of her career. I don't know if that was something that was going to happen. I mean, she comes from gospel, right? She's had a lot of gospel influence. She's done a lot of like gospel music and stuff when she was like, especially when she was like Destiny Child. So I don't know if that's something that she would really explore right now. I think we'll see her do something that she has not done before. It might be rock and roll. Who knows? I mean, considering the fact that one of her major influences is Tina Turner, we might see that happen. Tina Turner was a rock and roll artist. You know, she wasn't R&B. She wasn't, you know, she was like rock and roll soul. But anyway, as we move on, here is where the controversy starts. And I have to preface this by saying, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a Swiftie. I don't care if I don't care if you have an entire shrine to Taylor Swift. She deserved to be at number 2. Period. She deserved to be at number 2. She wasn't going to get number 1 over Beyonce. She's the most influential artist right now when it comes to numbers. But Beyonce has stood the test of time for 30 years. Almost 30 years. 25 years. Right? She has literally been around since the beginning, like the beginning of the century. She's been here. That's another thing too. Some people have an issue with the fact that the fact that they're doing this list and the century isn't over. You know how they are. They're going to do this regardless. Every few years they do a new list. So they'll probably have another list with more people involved. Who knows? But Taylor Swift, she belongs here. Number 2 is fine. If she were number 1, I think that I would have an issue with it just because like her career has spanned about, I want to say 15 years or so, because she's been around since like the late 2000s. So I feel like she would be okay being at number 1. But I think that her solidarity in the industry didn't really start until the latter half of the 2010s. You know what I'm saying? Like, until she started really going heavy with the pop music, she wasn't really that big yet. You understand what I'm saying? It was the same thing with Beyonce too, but Beyonce's had the time to actually grow. She has innovated the industry in ways that people wouldn't think about, right? At the dawn of the digital era, where people were downloading music and you had to do so much promotion for people to go and download your music, Beyonce did that without any promotion when it came to the self-titled album. I think that right there solidified her as one of the greatest artists of all time, because she was able to put out an album without any type of promotion, no notice, drops an album and said, here, take it. And people did. There is no other other artists tried to do that and they failed. It flopped royally. So you're not going to do that. And also, she's covered many different styles between R&B, dance pop. She's done EDM a little bit. I don't know if she's done EDM, maybe a little bit of electronic. She's done rock. She's done country now. Like, she's done a little bit of everything. Taylor Swift kind of stays in the same lane. You know, it's either that folky pop, that country pop, or like just, I really haven't seen where she has gone into any other areas besides that type of music that you can play at H&M. I mean, again, that's just me. And you guys are entitled to your opinions just like I'm entitled to mine. But again, I can't take away from her influence. Like, she's definitely influenced the world in ways which pretty much a lot of others probably won't even see that level of success. And we're moving on. Rihanna. I expected this. Like, Beyonce and Rihanna were like neck and neck, but I will say that her as a pop star when it comes to the music has kind of dwindled a little bit. She still has, for some reason, here's the thing. People love Rihanna so much that they haven't, like, people like are upset about the fact that she hasn't put out an album in 8 years. They're upset about that, but it's not stopping them from listening to her music that she already has out, because she has so much music to consume. I mean, the girl, she put out several albums, right? She put out several albums before she was even out for 10 years. So it's like, we already have a lot of stuff to consume. If you want to listen to Rihanna, you have like a whole big discography to listen to, right? It was at one point she was putting out an album every year. Right, so like, Homegirl had 6 albums out, and she had only been out for like 6, 7, 8 years. I'm not gonna sit here. This is perfect, a perfect position for her. I think she has a lot of influence just outside of the pop world, outside of the music world too now, because she's had all these businesses, Fenty Beauty, Savage, Fenty. She's done so much outside of music that I feel like putting her higher on the list would be not disservice. She's exactly where she needs to be to me. To me, that's where she needs to be. Next up, oh gosh, this hater. Drake, listen, if we want to really get into Drake, yes, he's probably one of the most influential like rappers that we had. And just over the years, he has solidified himself as somebody who can kind of go into any area and succeed. I'm not going to take that away from him. The way that he's been acting recently, though, is calling a lot of this into question. I really don't like the Drake that we're getting recently. Like, it's real corny. Now he's going after UMG. Now he's going after Spotify. I'm just like, are we forgetting the fact that, like, you were their golden boy for years? Like, you were the one that they were pushing for years. When your album Scorpion came out, I remember being on platforms and just seeing your face plastered on every single playlist. Let's not pretend like you weren't the one that was receiving all of those privileges before. You're just mad because you're not now, and because people are clowning you in the streets every other day about the Kendrick beef and about you being, you know, an alleged pedophile. But I'm just saying, all in all, yes, I guess he kind of deserves to be here. I was never really a fan of Drake like that. There are a few select songs that I like, a couple of select verses that he featured on. Other than that, I really wasn't a Drake fan like that. So I'm indifferent towards this. Next is Lady Gaga. She deserves to be in the top 5. I think that more often than it's really her innovation. It's really her creativity. It's really the molds that she pushes, right? She never wanted to fit into a category. She never wanted to fit into a mold for anybody else's satisfaction. She was out here to make you hoes feel uncomfortable, and she did that well, while still being talented. Here's the thing. It's not like she ever really needed the gimmicks to make herself successful. It just was an extra added bonus to being able to experience Lady Gaga's artistry. You got a little bit of a show. You know, she's a drama queen. And I love that. I love that about her. I've always loved Lady Gaga, and I think that she's one of the most talented and innovative performers of our generation, of this century. So yes, she deserves to be in the top 5. Moving on, Britney. I would have moved Drake down and moved Britney and Lady Gaga up. Another innovative performer, right? They're always going to show this this picture of her. They're always going to show this performance. This is a very high-res photo for it being on like a wow, because this is a performance from the 2000s. You can't even find like a real high definition video of this performance, and yet they were able to get this photo like this clear. Technology is amazing. Anyway, yes, Britney Spears, she had been running the industry since like the late 90s, right? As soon as she came out, she came out guns blazing, went right into the 2000s. And it's a shame that she lost a lot of time because of all of the things that she went through. It really makes you hate the industry. It really makes you hate people in general, because a lot of this stuff had to do with her family taking control of her life and everything. And I think that just really it ruins you. It really does ruin you. But I mean, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. She might not make another album ever again, but I mean, here's to hoping. You know, I actually really do enjoy a lot of Britney's music, and the performances that she would put on, I really like those too. She just seemed like she was really in it for the music, right? It wasn't ever really about all the extra stuff that they would make her do. She was genuinely there because she liked music and because she liked to perform. A showman, period. Anyway, moving on. Kanye, I'm inclined to agree. I don't know. I don't really know if I think that he definitely was running things when he first came out, and even into the Kardashian era, Lord. He was definitely running things. But as we get further, people are now starting to look at him differently, and especially because of a lot of the crash outs. But musically, we can't deny that his talent transcends even just his rap skills. Him as a producer, him as a creative director, I mean, he does a lot. He does a lot. For some of these artists on this list, he's probably done things for. So, I mean, I think that he deserves a top 10 spot. Definitely. Oh, I see his damn melon head. Justin Bieber. Here's the interesting about Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber and I are the same age. He's maybe about a month older than me. And I remember when he came out, I was about 13 years old, and he was also 13. I remember when he first came out, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, one less lonely girl. So I'm like, I don't get the hype. I don't think that I started to appreciate Justin Bieber's artistry until a lot of other people did, which was right around the time that Purpose came out. I was listening to Purpose like crazy. Purpose was one of the greatest albums, I would say, of the 2010s. And definitely solidified him as an artist that should be on this list. Now, I don't know if I would make him in the top 10. I would say maybe about 15. 14, 13. But I will say maybe not, because his fans are the ones that really made him trend everywhere. Any time that he would put out music, the Beliebers, that's all you would see, is the Beliebers everywhere. So you know what, maybe he does deserve the spot. We'll move on. Oh, and some people really had an issue with certain other artists not being on here that were that are still around, that were around in the 90s. This is not for them, right? You had to have the same level of success now that you did in the 90s if you came out in the 90s. Beyonce came out in the late 90s, right? And she still she still has a high position in the pop industry. Just saying. Ariana Grande, Arianka. I think that this is fitting. I would say that every single time that Ariana has come out with a new album, she kind of reinvented herself just a little bit. Not too much, but enough to where you saw that she was growing as an artist. I think that her best album to date, a lot of people say it's Sweetener, certain people say it's Thank You Next. I, for one, I think it's Positions. There was just something about that Positions album that really made me look at her as more than just a great singer. She was doing a lot of vocal arranging. She was doing a lot. She was even like kind of had her hand in the production of the album too, which I believe that she also did for Sweetener, Thank You Next. But I think that it really reached a new height when it came to Positions. The cohesiveness of the album, I think it just, to me, it speaks volumes. And I really think that as we see Ariana now, she's to a point where she no longer is trying to please others. Now, you're going to get into a lot of the changes in her, like her look, skin tone and all of that. I don't really care about none of that. Y'all can sit up here and get mad about her doing blackface or her tanning excessively to make herself look black, and then y'all talk about she talks in a black accent. Whatever. I mean, whatever. As long as the music is good, I don't care about none of that. She ain't hurting nobody. She's not hurting anybody. And the one thing about her is that she's never been one of those artists that like, it's like I could see if she was like a Jelly Roll, or like we see Post Malone doing it now, where they take from like the black community by doing our music, the hip hop and the R&B and stuff, and then all of a sudden they want to go and turn around and do country music for the white people, right? They want to go ahead and do that and completely forget where they come from. Miley Cyrus did the same thing, came in here, took, and then she left and didn't turn back, and then even wanted to turn around and say like negative things about, you know, rap music and its influence and stuff. Ariana has never done that. Even to this day, even though like she's kind of taken on this like Galinda persona, she has never once turned and shied away from the music that she did before. And she still like gives her her flowers to Patti LaBelle and Brandy and Monica. Look, she just had them on her damn video. So this is what I'm saying, like, and the remix of The Boy Is Mine. So to me, she doesn't deserve that hate that she gets. And I think she really honestly gets the hate from people talking about her and the Ethan Slater thing, which is completely unrelated to the music and the art that she's putting out. People want to be so involved in these artists' personal lives. And I really just think it's like, it's really stupid. Unless, of course, she's breaking laws and committing crimes and hurting people, like actually hurting people, then it doesn't really matter. Like, look, if they can get past it, so can you. And number 10, Adele. Yeah, I'll say yeah. I think that Adele is the type of person that she comes in, she does her music, she does her tours, she does a little residency, she does what she needs to do, and she gets the hell out. She ain't worried about all this extra stuff that y'all got going on, right? That to me is she is able to keep up the demure and the mystery of being a music artist, of being a pop star, right? Because in the past, we used to have to speculate about everything when it came to pop artists. Now, because of social media, everything is available for public consumption. People are following you around and taking video on their camera and then posting it. I'm glad that Adele is still able to keep parts of her life private. You see how hard Beyonce has to work to keep her life private, and it still doesn't work? It's the reason why she doesn't do interviews anymore. It's just exhausting. It's exhausting. But Adele, I think that, yeah. The thing is that Adele herself, she doesn't really make the same kind of music that everybody else does. It's like you can't really go to the club and really listen to Adele. Like if you're trying to turn up, you're not really listening to Adele to turn up, right? So it's going to be a thing of like, you're going to be quiet in your room, you're going to be maybe driving or something, and you'll put on Adele and that'll be your moment. That's kind of her area, which is cool. But I think that she's had enough influence, and especially in the past 10 years, to really solidify herself as that kind of artist that you're just like, oh yeah, this is Adele. This is Adele. You're not really going to get the same energy from Adele as you do from a Beyonce or Taylor Swift. This is Adele, and you have to mentally prepare yourself to listen to Adele's music, and that's just on that. I myself am not a huge fan of Adele, just because I really don't like a lot of sad girl music, right? That's not really my area. Like if I listen to a sad song, I'm usually not sad, right? All the times that I've listened to breakup songs and stuff, I wasn't really breaking up. I didn't really care, or I was in a better mood. I like to listen to happy dance music when I'm sad, just to uplift my spirits. I don't like to like wallow in my sorrow. That to me is just too painful. I don't like that. So when it comes to Adele, I have to be in a very like mellow mood to listen to Adele, and even then it's only a few songs. Anyway, moving on. We have some other people down here. We got Usher at 11. I would have put Usher in Justin Bieber's place. Sorry. I'm sorry, I would have. I definitely would have. Or at least moved Usher up into the top 10 and moved somebody else down. Because I think that Usher, to me, he's transcended time. Like, he's been around since the early 90s. And he's still relevant now. So, like, come on. I feel like, you know, his reign will never die. Eminem, definitely one of the more influential rappers that we've had. And Nicki Minaj as well. Now, this is interesting because I really would put Nicki Minaj above Eminem just because of how much she has influenced the pop genre as it pertains to rap. Not too many of the new girls are listening to Eminem as heavily as they were in the like early 2000s, right? Mid 2000s, late 2000s. I feel a lot more people are listening to Nicki Minaj, a lot more people share Nicki Minaj, and a lot more people are going to, like, I think she has way more influence than Eminem does. And honestly, I would put Nicki Minaj ahead of Usher in that sense, right? I think, I don't know. Yeah, I would put Nicki Minaj a little bit higher, just because of what she's been able to accomplish in her reign. Justin Timberlake and Miley Cyrus. I think Miley Cyrus should be higher on this list. This girl has really transcended what it means to be an ex-Disney star, and I think that it's not studied quite enough. Her rise to the breaking out of that Disney mold, again, something that needs to be studied, but definitely something that was influential. And a lot of the future Disney girls would follow, right? We see that happening with people like Sabrina Carpenter and Dove Cameron, breaking out of their mold as fast as they possibly can. And then we also now have it with Kylie Cantrell, who was in the Descendants movie. She's putting out some music now, and she's out here in bustiers and in crop tops and shorts and stuff, and really, you know, selling sex. Listen, Miley Cyrus, I feel like she was the one that kind of did that first. For the new girls, I would say it was Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera prior to, but also there was a heavy gap in between them being Disney, like Mickey Mouse Club girls, and them being like high teens and young adults doing it, right? With Miley Cyrus, she came right off of doing like the Hannah Montana like final season and went right into doing bangers. Like about 2 years later, she did the Can't Be Tamed, and she was still on the Disney Channel at that point. So like, again, I think that she needs to be a little bit higher just because of what she has done to innovate the pop music industry. Jay-Z, I think he belongs there. Yeah. You know, he's been very influential as a rapper. He's a lot of these other rappers' favorite rapper. So I would say, yeah, he deserves to be there. He looks actually really good there. Anyway, Shakira. A lot of you would think that she would be higher on this list. I think that she's right around, like, I wouldn't put her any higher than like 12 or 13. She's definitely a global like phenomenon. Like if you go to any of these other countries, especially like countries in Africa and Spain and down in South America, a lot of them really, really like Shakira. And so I would say that she definitely fits in this list. I don't know if I would put her higher or lower, who knows? The Weeknd. Hold on now. Where are we at? Because I'm like, I guess he belongs here. I thought it was maybe top 20. How many is it? 25? It's 25. And then they have honorable mentions, which I don't care about. BTS. I think that they've definitely been able to do a lot here. I wouldn't put them higher than Katy Perry. I think that maybe they're talking about like current relevance, which BTS has definitely transcended a lot. They were the first breakout K-pop star to really like chart here in the US. So it's definitely something to write on about. I think that they definitely belong in the top 20. So maybe this is a good spot for them. Bruno Mars, yes, maybe a little bit higher. One Direction shouldn't be here at all. And that's no disrespect. I mean, rest in peace to Liam Payne, but that has nothing to do with this. Like, nah. They definitely were like the biggest guy group in the 2010s. One of the only ones doing it, but I don't know. Lil Wayne, I guess. I guess. Moving on. Bad Bunny. He definitely belongs here. I think that he's had more success at the latter half of the 2010s than anything and into the 2020s. I think that he really didn't solidify himself until the 2020s, right? He was only doing things like late 2010s. So I think that he's really done a lot to be able to solidify himself in the industry. And I think he has a lot of room to grow too. So I'm actually excited to see what he will do in the latter half of the 2020s. But he's definitely like gotten himself, like he's broken out of just being like a Latin artist, right? A lot of people listen to him. I remember back when I was like doing Uber, this entire, like I had like a third row and everything. It was like 6 of them that got in the car. And it was all white boys, right? And they were going to a club. And why did they tell me to play Bad Bunny? Like, they got in the car, oh, you got Bad Bunny? I was like, yeah, I could play him for you, whatever. And it's just like, I was like, Bad Bunny, of all of the artists that you could have gotten here and asked about, Bad Bunny? Really? And also, he's one of the, like, one of my friends, like, a close friend of mine who is a white boy. And not even like one of those white boys that tries to act black. Like he's like one of those, like he's like a bona fide, like you would think that he was in like a frat or something. One of his favorite artists is Bad Bunny. Like he will go to like the Latin clubs and request Bad Bunny, like and ask for them to play Bad Bunny and be like happy as hell and know all the words. He even started to learn Spanish because of that. I'm like, huh? He knows all the words. I was like, wow. Like Bad Bunny actually has a lot of influence that a lot of people aren't talking about. So he deserves to be on this list. Ed Sheeran, I would say yes, but I've never been a fan of Ed Sheeran. You know, it's like the same thing as like Adele or like one of these other, Sam Smith. He's like one of those pop artists that I really just can't get behind. And I think it's just because of the fact that like, he's one of those guys that's like a Shawn Mendes or whatever. And like, I don't really get excited to see him perform. You know, for me to be able to call myself a fan of an artist, I have to have watched a performance and been like blown away at least once, right? I've never gotten that from Ed Sheeran. Just stands up there with a guitar, sings his songs and get off. That's cool for some people. For me, and when it comes to like pop artists, I want to see pop, right? I want to see somebody that really like makes me like wow, like, whoa. And I'm not saying that you have to get up there and like do a whole 8 count or whatever. You don't have to do a full dance routine. Like, you don't have to be like Chris Brown or anybody. But I think that, like, even like Bad Bunny, he don't get into all of that. But there's just something about his showmanship, his charisma that I really like. Ed Sheeran, I've never really seen him to be that charismatic. I've never really seen him to be like that much of a showman. He's talented, yes, but I've never really seen him as a pop artist like that. I'll see maybe as an alternative artist. Like, he would be really cool in an indie crowd, but I've never really looked at Ed Sheeran as being like a great pop artist to me. And that's just to me. Again, this is my opinion. I don't care about what any of you guys think about that. That's my opinion. And Katy Perry. Katy Perry should be higher on this list. It is a crime that she's not. She was running the 2010s right next to Taylor Swift. Right next to Taylor Swift. That's why we had bad blood. I will say that maybe she's this low on the list because at the latter half of the 2010s, she really was not doing that well. And even as we look at her influence now, there's not too many people talking about Katy Perry's new music. I didn't even know that she put an album out recently. I didn't even know that she put music out recently. She did. Until I saw her up here with Doechii, who's one of my favorite artists. As soon as I saw her out with Doechii, I was like, oh my gosh, she has new music? I didn't even know about that. Really, honestly, I checked out when it came to Swiss Swish. And I even have a video on that song in which I completely hated that song. After that, I completely checked out from Katy Perry. So, you know what? Maybe she does deserve the last spot on this list. You can't deny that she's definitely had influence. She definitely ran the pop industry for a good period of time, several years. But she kind of lost momentum over time. And I don't know if it's because she kind of tried to feed into a lot of these gimmicks and stuff. And maybe just the music was not that great. Leading into like after Teenage Dream, it kind of dwindled a little bit. I mean, we had good music in Prism, but after that, I don't know. We kind of lost the plot. So maybe, hopefully Katy comes and brings it back around. Hopefully we have some, maybe she does have good music now and I just haven't heard it. So maybe this will be my motivation to listen to some new Katy Perry music and see if I like anything. But anyway, that is it. I think I've shared all that I can about each of these artists, the ones that were worth sharing about, right? I definitely agree with their number one pick. It definitely should be Beyonce. Beyonce has been running the industry for the past 20 years. And period. We can't, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. She definitely made her mark when it came to putting out albums like I Am Sasha Fierce and 4. And then when you turn around and put out self-titled, she started entire movements now with the Lemonade and with Renaissance. So it's like, we really can't deny her success. We can't deny her influence. And that's all. That's all I gotta say. But anyway, I have talked now for about 35 minutes. It's time to get the hell up off of here and eat some food because my stomach has been grumbling. Drop a like if you like the video, right? Thumbs up. We love to see those. It helps push me through the algorithm if you do that. I need to get back in the algorithm because I don't think that I have been. Probably not. It's been so long. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos, definitely, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I release new content. And definitely follow my social media if you want to be kept up to date with other things going on in my life besides the channel. I do have my own music that I am trying to push, especially for next year. I have a new single out called No Good. It's kind of like an EDM R&B fusion, if you want to call it that. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope everybody has a great day. Take care, stay safe, and have a happy holiday.
I'ma let you drive. Love it when you take control. Take my mind, body, and soul. Shifting in the drive.